Good evening. I hope I find you well. I hope I find you well this evening after a nice day, bit of sun coming out and so on and so forth. It was nice, wasn't it? Nice to see a bit of sun. It's a gift when we get it. Now, Bishop Joseph E. Strickland, lies and leaving. The challenge of the laity in the 21st century. This marvellous bishop. And he's talking about the liturgy. And he places great emphasis on it. That Jesus is the center of the Holy Mass, with the consecration and Holy Communion. What he did at the Last Supper, giving the instruction to the apostles, and the same applies to the successors of the apostles, the bishops. And so he was saying when he started off first, he was going with the way it appeared to be, and he was inviting people up to the altar, young people, and then when he was somewhere else, he was students and that inviting their sports equipment up, and he didn't know what he was doing that for. It wasn't the correct way to approach it, and so he gradually moved away from that to following trying to encourage people about the Holy Mass, the importance of the Holy Mass, and that the church should be in the system whereby it's like the shape of a cross, which a lot of churches are in this country. The ones that are not don't have the reverence there. You don't know where you are in them, and you don't even know where the tabernacle is. These ones around, and you just have no feeling of reverence in the church. And the tabernacle is not in the center of the altar, but it should be. And Bishop Strickland, that's what he says. Sometimes you need a map. You go to churches; they're not. It's like as if the celebration of the Holy Mass and Jesus, what he laid down, is about the last thing they want. Everything else bar that, and that's the central part. So, and the priest should not be the center of anything. He's there he's the focus not on him; it's on the God. So he's come over to what they call the ad orientem system. In other words, the priest facing the tabernacle. Funny enough, they don't say that; they use other words, and that's what it is. That's what it was in my time when Latin was the celebration of the Mass, and you had a missal. And he's talking about missals again and to follow the Mass. And but it was people that weren't wealthy. None of us were wealthy those times, but we had missals. Our father must have bought the missals. And so we were able to follow the Mass and the Latin and all the rest of it. And I was an altar boy and I knew the Latin without a bother. And you're taught it. And so it was reverend and the priest went up in the pulpit because there was none of this microphone business, and you could hear him and you could see him. And of course, they were facing the tabernacle. They weren't in the center, but they give a good sermon, strong sermon that'll wake you up. Not so much from sleep or that, but nourish your soul. That sort of thing. A great foundation. And so Bishop Strickland has moved towards that. He calls it ad orientem, but it's the priest face and not the center. It's not about him, it's about God. He puts it very simple. And the focus should not be on him. And in my opinion, when we go to Mass and that, we're facing the tabernacle. But sometimes the priest is facing us with his back to the tabernacle. It doesn't seem right. It'd be far better if he faced the tabernacle. I think that'd be more reverent. And anyone that's up on the altar area should always be wearing a soutane surplice or some other garment if it's a woman. Not all this plethora of individuals and they're dressed all different. And that's the sort of thing. I mean, it's reverence. You're there to celebrate Holy Mass, and the more reverent it is, and that's the way for the reverence. And it's common sense, isn't it? I'm surprised that the bishops did what they did in this country and in other countries, because it was never in Vatican II. They changed everything. So Bishop Strickland is going back to basics, and the priest as well. And he doesn't want people sort of noticing and reporting this, that, and the other. That the reverend, the priest is not the centre, and priest face the tabernacle. And I think he introduced that, and with the result in that part of East Timor, it was a very good practice of the Catholic faith. He was a great gift as a bishop, because he's there as a descendant of the apostles, and he as Jesus said, he steps back. Yes. And people then receive Holy Communion kneeling at the altar rails. Isn't that the way to receive Holy Communion? On your tongue, kneeling at the altar rails, as we all did. So I received mine on the tongue. Well, a lot of people have their paw out, whatever is wrong with them. It's not the way to receive Holy Communion. No, it's the body, blood, soul, and divinity you in your mouth. One time a priest, when I under the mouth, he said, on the hand. I'll never forget that, and I know the parish he's in, and I wouldn't go next nor near with a look at that attitude. And of course, it's one of these churches that's round. You don't know where you are. And the Station of the Cross are not the traditional kind, You have to sort of use your imagination to know what they're about. No, it's not the way to do it, is it? So here we are. So that's roughly what Bishop Strickland was talking about. So bear that in mind, and let's hope that it will come to that. And there are the Latin Rite Mass that's celebrated in various places. That's the way the priest faces the tabernacle. It's not about him. The focus is not on him. It's on God. And the tabernacle should be in the centre of the altar. Bishop Strickland mentioned sometimes you need a map to know where it was. I saw Mass celebrating this Walsingham in Britain, supposed to be a great shrine. And the church where I saw Monsignor and priests, to me, it was disgraceful. All you could see behind the bishop was greenery, plain glass windows, no sign of a tabernacle. I didn't know where it was, and I never found out where it was. Looking at the church, that's disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. What's wrong with them? That doesn't nourish the faith. There should be curtains across those windows, and the tabernacle should be clearly behind where the Mass is celebrated, and he should face the tabernacle. Oh, goodness. Imagine such a great shrine being neglected like that. Yeah. Anyway, we live in hope, don't we? I'd love to go to Mass where the priest faces the tabernacle. I get in the Latin Rite, but it's not celebrated just around me near enough that I can go to it. And I'd love to be able to go to it and near some place where it was celebrated. Celebrating in Navan, in Johnstown and Navan at 1 o'clock on a Sunday. but it's not a low mass like a low mass. A high mass is great as well, but it's between a low mass and a high mass where you're singing and that. So sometimes the priest is good, but I never know what he's saying. He's from England and he speaks too fast or in such a way that I just don't know what he's saying. And really, I want to know what I hear. If he spoke slowly and short and slow, if I could speak to him, I'd be telling him that. Speak slow, Father. I know you're enthusiastic, but speak slow so everyone can understand what you're saying and maybe not say as much, but to the point, to nourish the souls. Because there'll be a big crowd at that Mass and mothers and fathers and children, more so than you see at other churches. But it's a lot more. So there we are, and I'll be doing my hymns after that and then the Let's Talk. We know.